Welcome to the channel, you guys. I'm going to give it a couple minutes for everybody to come strolling on in. We're going to talk about today's episode. Hopefully you're having a terrific Taco Tuesday. And I think the notification might have just went out. So, yeah, we'll give it a moment and allow folks to stroll on in here. All right. Pretty interesting stuff on both episodes from both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. Hi, Janera. Hey, Crystal, Jenny, Melissa Spencer. How you guys doing? Let's see. Who we got? Myra, Blackpink Me. Hey, Belinda. What's going on, my good soapies? What's going on? How your day is going? How's your Tuesday? All right, we got about 28 people in here. Hey, TA, daycare with the kids. Gabby. Yes, happy Taco Tuesday. All right, so welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk, where we're going to discuss both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for November 19th. Can you believe we are in the third week of November? We're getting close to the end of November sweeps. We only got like 1 week and about a week and a half before December. Thanksgiving is next Thursday. Hopefully you guys are planning a fun, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, hopefully you're planning a fun event for you and your families or whatever you decide to do. If you just decide to chill out and just take the days off, maybe do some shopping. I know you guys are looking forward to that hopefully next week. Alrighty. So, without any other further ado, we're going to jump into the Y&R discussion. And we had a few things going on today. We had Kyle was just so unwilling to forgive. Victor looked like he kind of set up Diane. He rigged Glissade. And Nick hires Michael. So yeah, so let's go ahead and start into this. So we're going to head over to the Abbott mansion first. We got Jack and Diane discussing how much they miss each other. I'm actually glad to see that they didn't break up. I do like the chemistry between the two of them, even though it looked kind of iffy for a while. And I know you guys, my soapies, called it out. Y'all was like, oh no, they are playing a game. This is not real. Yeah, so very interesting stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that they actually got back together. However, the conversation turned to Kyle, and Jack kind of reminded Diane that they both made the decision to pretend. Diane is haunted by the look on his face, and she's worried that their plan was a massive failure. Like, dang, what if we did all this? And Kyle never forgives them. In my opinion, Kyle is a brat. Because it shouldn't take this much energy for Kyle to realize that, and we'll talk about the conversation over at over at the GCAC with his dad, because that was crazy. Anyway, Diane is thinking it might backfire. Jack don't think it'll happen. Diane hoped Glissade will be officially hers. And then Jack said that they can move into the next step if it is hers. But Diane, of course, is wondering as she's concerned about Kyle's animosity toward her. And, even though that may be a gift, it might not be able to heal wounds. Jack is still trying to reassure her, but, he reminds her that they got to keep up this act. I mean, Diane kisses him, and she's talking about, you know what, I'm going to sneak out the back because I don't want nobody to know that I spent the night. Girl, please. But I guess. Don't forget your overnight bag. Hey, Miss Welder. Hey, Frenchie, Dewan, Pauline. Hey, you guys. So let's switch over to the club because we had Claire asking Kyle if he's spoken to his parents, and he said he can't face them. And I'm like, dude, give it a rest already. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. And so he goes on talking about he feels that they made him look like an idiot. No, your decisions made you look like an idiot, Kyle. You're the brat of the brattiest brat. Your decision made you look like an idiot. And he talking about how nothing has changed. If anything is worse. Now, Claire understood, understands him not trusting them because of the deception. Kyle also feel like a fool for trusting Victor, so part of it worked. Well, I think you were an idiot in that form too, because Victor already showed you 2.5 years ago, or was that last year? I don't know why I'm thinking that's in 2023, but maybe it was late 22, 23. He's already shown you that he has no loyalty to you, Kyle. So what make you think that this time was going to be different? Anyway, Claire pointed out that Jack and Diane's hearts were in the right place. I mean, can you meet them halfway? Let go of the anger. And I agree with her. I mean, they tried. Yes, it was a deception. But meet them halfway. It's not like you were the only victim in here. You stole company secrets. You went and gave company secrets to the op. Yeah, you, Kyle. You act like you're innocent and that you were only the person on the receiving end of all of this. Did Diane fire you? Of course. Do I think she was qualified to be co-CEO? No. Do I think Jack should have focused on fixing his family instead of chasing after Nikki all those months? Yes. But Kyle, you have some culpability too. I mean, seriously. So, the best choice Kyle ever made was sleeping with Audra. Oh, okay. I guess. Jasmine say Jack and Diane need to worry about Victor more than their insufferable idiot of a son. I knew my nose. Melissa. Yeah, my nose is stuffy. Yeah, I'm all right. It's just my nose. Oh my God. I was in an area, what was that, Saturday, where I think it triggered my allergies. So now I've been battling my nose. So if I sound kind of nasally, that's what it's about. You know what? I might have to try that. I cannot have caffeine, so whatever tea that I have to have, it has to be decaffeinated. And I have some. I got some dandelion tea. I got a lot of different teas in there. I got some soursop tea. So yeah, I got some tea. But yeah, it was fine until I got ready to do lives. I'm like, ooh, my nose is clear, and then all of a sudden, I got ready to do lives, and then my nose started getting all nasally. So that's what you hear, and I appreciate that, Melissa. And if you hear me sniffling, that's why. All right. Well, we was talking about. Oh yeah, Claire pointed out there. Jack and Diane's heart was in the right place. She asked if being angry all the time helps, and I agree with that. Being angry isn't going to fix anything. You gotta let go of the anger, Kyle, before it eats you alive. And I totally agree with that. He gotta let that go, but for whatever reason, he's so pissed off at his parents that he can't let it go. I know, girl. Thanks, Cheryl. Y'all giving me all the recommendations. Thank you, green tea and honey. Oh God, I can't stand my allergies. And the thing is, I knew better, and I tried to make sure, but nothing is ever 100%. All right, so now we're gonna go over to the Newman Ranch. Nikki saw Victor in the living room, and he looks upset. Now, Victor tells her that Nick just told him that Sharon was arrested for the unaliving of Heather, and that Sharon confessed. Now, he went on to say that Sharon had an argument with Heather. They got out of control, and then she tried to frame Daniel, and Nikki, of course, can't believe it. and then start to worry about Faith. So they had that whole conversation about what Nikki, about what Nicholas told Nick about Sharon and all that. We'll get more into that. And the fact that they happened to find Sharon's car nearby, and he wanted this to be a day of celebration, but instead it turned out to be something else, especially with him taking over Chancellor. Okay? So, especially with him taking over Chancellor, he wanted, and installing her as CEO, he wanted this to be a great day. And obviously, with all of this stuff with Sharon, it's not a great day, according to him. Well, the day gets worse because we actually, and you know what, before I even bring that up, we also had the scene where Daniel was over at the hospital. His mom is still unconscious. Phyllis is still out. Elena came in trying to give them a little bit of comfort about how these things could take time. Chance appears and Daniel tells him that, hey, I got news, but I'm waiting for Christine to get here. And it comes out that, Sharon did this. Yeah. And so, of course, he's free. The charges have been dropped. Chance can't give them any more information, but he did get confirmation. I guess the DA office made mention of the arrest. And so, yeah, that's going to lead to the end of this episode. What y'all talking about? Victor has probably stripped Glissade, leaving Diana shell of the company. That wouldn't surprise me at all that happened. Then we head over to Crimson Lights. We got Nick telling Michael that Sharon was arrested. She's in big trouble. Michael learns that, she confessed to unaliving Heather and waived her rights. I mean, it's going to be a little tough, but obviously the arraignment is this morning, and so they head out for the arraignment. But Nikki cannot run Chancellor Industries alone. She's going to need help. Yeah, I've been concerned about that too, on whether or not Nikki is actually able to run a company of this magnitude, especially since she's fresh coming off of rehab. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see if she can actually do this. Let's talk about Jordan and Ian. So, we swing over to the Fleabag Motel. We got Jordan coming in telling Ian that Sharon confessed last night and is being arraigned this morning. And he was like, aha, finally she's caught. And it should have been from the beginning. Better late than never, according to Jordan. Now, Ian was like, you know what, she turned out to be more cunning than he expected. So, of course, just like everybody is in town not expecting that Sharon could have done this, even Ian was like, oh, she's a little bit more slicker than I thought she was. But in the end, it was her conscience that betrayed her. That's the risk of having one. Which means and most people of a sociopathic nature, whether you're part of the cluster B or you have a personality disorder, if you have zero empathy, you're normally known as a sociopath or a psychopath, which obviously Ian and Jordan is. Hey, Mari. Which actually Ian and Jordan is a psychopath and a sociopath. Because when he said that, I was like, well, that definitely speaks volumes to who they are. Yeah, he said the end of her was her having a conscience. It's risk. When you have a conscience, it's a risk because now you're going to tell on yourself. So that was interesting. Phyllis would be eating crow again, seriously, but she will never admit she was wrong. Of course not. Bree says it's funny how Victor shamed Diane, saying she wasn't qualified to be CEO, but assumes Nikki is highly qualified to run Chancellor. Both Nikki and Diane have the same resume. Facts. Melissa said Fleabag Hotel is right, and they need. Oh, they are the two biggest fleas around, and somebody needs to get a whole lot of flea spray. Yeah, they match the hotel that they're in, so I totally agree with you on that. All right, but yeah, I thought that was pretty darn interesting. So at least they know, or we know, that they're both social and psychopaths. All right, let's head over to society. So we're over at society. We got a conversation happening between Mariah and Tessa because Mariah just cannot believe that this is her mom. The doctors changed her meds, so she must be having some type of breakdown, Mariah's thinking, because she pretty much thinks that her mom is incapable of doing something like this in her right mind. And she's like, look, there's got to be more to this, which obviously she's right because she don't know about Ian and Jordan. But she's worried about her mom. She must be scared. Faith has shut down. Tessa asks what she can do, and Mariah says, look, I'm just glad you're listening. Then we get over to the house. But before we do that, oh yeah, we get over to the house. Michael and Nick follow Sharon, and then she obviously got out on arraignment. She says she wants to pay for this. I'm guilty. That's my defense. Nick is begging her to talk to Michael and tell him everything in case there's something else she remembers that she can explain why this happened. Sharon goes on to state that she unalived Heather and framed Daniel. Michael said it can argue that the confession was coerced. And I'm like, Michael, really? She gave that free will, and like Nick said, she told him to call Chance. She made him call Chance to hear the confession. So Sharon is standing by every word of it, and she claimed that she's going to fight anybody who try to stop her, which, well, girl, you want to take the fall for this for real. So let's swing back over to the ranch because Diane has now shown up. Nikki answered the door talking about what she doing here. Diane like, look, girl, please back up. I got a meeting with Victor. Nikki slams her for crashing the wedding, and the girl was like, look, I had an invitation, so whatever is whatever. I don't care what you think. And Nikki was like, is this gonna take long? Because I mean, the sooner the better if you get rid of her. And, Victor was like, yeah, well, it ain't going to take long. And so Victor sit down with Diane. She's like, look, I fired Kyle at the party. Victor correct her. It was his daughter's wedding. This wasn't no party. Correction. Get it right. Point blank, period. This was my daughter's wedding. And she like, yeah, whatever. He wants to know her reasons for doing it. And of course, she like, I need to stick it to Kyle. You told me that, hey, if I do this in public, you're going to give me Glissade. And he was like, he picked up that phone, click, click. The contract is signed over to you. Booyah, it's over. And she like, wait, that's it? Nothing else? That simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And he was like, why? Did you expect something else? And she was like, yeah, because you're Victor Newman. Of course, there's got to be some type of catch. And he was like, nope. Company is all yours. I don't need it. I never wanted it in the first place. I don't care about it. Take the company and get the French toast out. And the crazy thing is after she left, Nikki came back and was like, you did what? You gave her Glissade? And he's like, oh yeah, I gave her Glissade, but I got the last laugh. And she's going to be shocked. Not only did I give her a company, but everything that comes along with it. So yeah, I'm wondering if she's going to get a shell of a company. And I mean, I know she wants to take it and give, because I don't know if you guys noticed that they want to give that company back to Kyle to run it. That's the interesting thing. And if he wasn't so stuck up his butt about being mad at his parents, they're actually gifting him the company. And you're no longer under Victor. But what the French toast did Victor do to Glissade, though? I mean, that's the interesting piece. Why don't these people have a lawyer present when signing anything from Victor? My thing is, she should have read the contract. All he did was push a button on the phone and threw her out and say it's yours and I don't want it and I never wanted it. However, we can't forget about the other thing he said to Nikki. He also finessed Nikki by saying, because when Nikki said, why did you give her that company? He was like, look, well, you told me I need to stop sticking it to Jack. I was using the company to do that. So I did what I wanted to do, just like everything else I do for you, my dear Nikki Newman. And she calmed down after that. I hate when one of my nostrils is completely stuffed on one side. It's just insane. And that's the thing. It's just my nose. It's crazy. So swinging back to the conversation between Ian and Jordan. Ian and Jordan discussed Sharon's framing, the whole framing situation, and Ian's certain that her confession would keep Sharon behind bars for a very long time. And so she like, look, it's time to pop that champagne. And so when Ian said, what was their reaction when they found out Sharon was going to jail? And she was like, I didn't get that far. I don't know. Oh, he was pissed. He put Jordan on notice. He was like, hold on. We helping each other out. So if I need you to do something for me, you need to do it if you want me to do something for you. And the look in Jordan's face. I mean, I think the last time we saw fear in her eyes is when she was locked in that cell under Victor's house with those stinking Brussels sprouts and no toilet. That was the last time we seen her that scared. But the look and the fear that Ian put into her, I was like, ooh, okay. You're scared of him. Because he was like, look, I don't need you to just do the job. I need you to tell me every emotion. Because he's a sadist. And the purpose of a sadist is they enjoy watching other people's pain. And so if he is not seeing, he's seeing things happen, but he wants to see the reaction from it. He wants to enjoy the pain that Sharon is going through. Yeah, I know, T.A. Jordan was scared of Ian. Yep. Jenna, you said, I read today that Nick is going up against Daniel for Sharon. Oh, wow. Okay. We shall see. All right. And then we get back to the ranch. And while all of this conversation is going on, there was a coming to this moment. And I won't say the word, but guess who showed up at the door? Daniel. And Daniel was like, Sharon, you got some splaining to do. Remember, if you're an I Love Lucy fan, I don't know if you remember Ricky Ricardo saying, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. Where Sharon, you got some splaining to do. Because Daniel, he needs answers. Daniel is hotter than fish grease about this whole situation. Oh yeah, he's not a happy camper. He stepped inside that door and was like, how could you? Daniel, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Wait till everything comes out. And then we can't skip the part at the hospital where both Daniel and Summer is telling Phyllis to wake up and say, hey, I told you so. So it was a lot going on. Hey, Bree, I know, Bree, you've been saying that since yesterday. I can't wait for Daniel to go off. Yeah, Frenchie. Frenchie said Jordan has met her match. Yes, she has. Jasmine says sadist that Phyllis was at her own funeral watching her children and Lucy. She has a now see she was looking for attention. That was more narcissistic than anything because she wanted to see what type of attention. She didn't want to inflict pain on her kids. She wanted to see the emotion to be needed. And that was more of a narcissistic move. Ian wants revenge against Sharon because of Mariah. Yep, absolutely, Belinda. Daniel is going to let Sharon have it. Sure is. She better be ready for that one. Obviously, we'll see that hopefully in the Wednesday episode. They don't skip a day and move on to a different storyline. Because Young and the Restless have a tendency to do that. Daniel should file a civil suit for pain and suffering. Bree, maybe. Who knows? We'll see how they do the spoilers. Definitely see how that go. So, very interesting stuff. I am loving Y&R right now. I'm curious to find out what Daniel's going to say to Sharon. I'm curious to find out what Victor has done to Glissade. And Kyle, get a grip. Stop being a brat. All that stuff that your parents went through, even though it was a deception, all the stuff that they went through in order to get you away from Victor and about to hand you the company back, even though we don't know how bad it's damaged. But you're about to get the company handed back to you. So he need to get a grip. But let's go ahead and grade this one. I am going to give it a B. So let's see what you guys got to say. And then we'll go to bold. I'm going to mention something before I start on bold, but let's go ahead and put your grades in there for bold. And thank God the pressure in my nose is starting to clear up. Okay, Y&R storylines have you hooked? Absolutely. Oh, you missed it today, Jenna? TA gave it an A-. Belinda said Kyle might lose Claire behind his whining. I don't blame her. If she look, grow up, stop being a child and acting like a brat, I wouldn't blame Claire for doing what she's doing. If she decided to kick him to the curb, I would be absolutely okay with that. All right, A's and B's. Yeah, we got high marks. High marks. Oh, okay, Jenna, no problem. We have high marks from Young and the Restless. So the sweeps are sweeping in November for Y&R. All right, we're going to start with bold. But I want to address something before we jump into bold. And I know people frequent my comment section, and you might have seen this comment, you might have not. But I do want to address this across the board. I understand that the bold and the beautiful can be very polarizing. It's happening across social media, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, X, which is formerly Twitter, and even Reddit, okay? And people tend to have their opinions and take sides, all right? Here's the thing. Soap Corner Talk, myself, we've been at this for almost 6 years, along with Keish. Me and Keish were together back in 2019, 2020. All the way up to now going into 2025, which includes my other mods and other co-hosts, which means Bree, J Money, Trish, and of course I mentioned Keish. We all have opinions. However, this is a very objective platform, and I understand that some people might seem that we speak based on how the storylines are going. So there has been some consensus whether this is a hate Logan platform. It is not. I've called out Steffy for the better of 2.5 years about her behavior when it comes to the whole thing with with Sheila Carter. Keisha and myself have been on the opposing side of that particular situation. What happened in the alley in 2022. I also got on Steffi about hiding those kisses from her husband. I've got on Steffi about how she treats her husband and the fact that Finn is even simping out because this woman who basically was a place where she shouldn't have been, he got a bullet put in his belly, saving her because she put herself in situations that she had no business. He was in the middle of a whole paternity scandal between him and Liam with the son Hayes. I've also been objective when it comes to Eric. I had my things to say about him, about Carter. I've had things to say about Ridge. We all have had issues with this whole thing, okay? If I say something about Hope or any of my co-hosts say anything about Hope, we're following the storyline. We're going to have our opinions, okay? This is not a trying to destroy a particular character. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Annika Noel. She got engaged. So I'm happy about that. So what I'm saying is we have open dialogue. I've been pretty much objective across all of these characters. They've had their moments, good and bad. Okay? So I just want to put that out there. If you don't like Hope, if you don't like the Steffi character, fine. You know, people are going to have their opinions, but please do not, as we provide this content for you guys, to make it look like we have a certain form of selective outrage toward or being biased toward one specific character, because we have hit each and every one of them at one point in time over the 6 years since I've ran this platform, whether it was on the podcast or the YouTube channel. Okay? This is a fictional show. These are not real people. I call it as I see it. Thank you. All right. I wanted to do that housekeeping thing because I was very, taken back by a comment that hit my channel yesterday. And by the way, we have fun about talking about whether the writers are listening to us, but by no means does this channel influence how storylines are changed, written, or characters removed from the show. Let's get that straight. Okay? Cool. All right. I had to talk about that, and I'm sorry I had to take the time away, but I wanted to clear the air on that. Alrighty. Okay, on bold. Finn, we had him standing his ground with Brooke, if that's what you want to call it. Steffi questions Ridge's loyalty, and Carter makes one last attempt to get through to Ridge. All right, so we got over at Forrester. Hold on. I hate when that happens. All right. Over at Forrester, Katie updates Steffi about the press release that she sent to Hope. And Steffi goes into this whole thing about it's professional to give her the heads up. And Katie clapped back. She said there's nothing professional happening here. Steffi don't like a tone and points out what Hope did was unprofessional. How would Katie react if she found a woman in lingerie on top of her husband? Now, this is where I gotta say, Steph, let's not forget when you're talking to Katie, what went down between you and Bill back in the day. Okay? Yeah. So when she was talking about how would you feel if somebody was trying to undermine your marriage, and I'm like, ooh, girl, Steffi, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. And I'm surprised. And I'm thinking that's what Bree should have exactly. The whole blackmail thing. Bree said it in the comments. So Bree, we were thinking the same thing. I didn't hear your voice memo yet in the group chat, and I just saw this comment before after I said that. I'm thinking to myself like, wait, girl, hold on. Don't talk too fast. That was a missed opportunity because Katie could have clapped back and said, okay, um, I know exactly what that's like because remember what happened with you and my ex-husband? Yeah. Now, how about that for balance on this channel? See, we call it when we see it, even if it's not in the script. Moving on. But that was a missed opportunity. Katie claims that, no, I would have saw it as a misunderstanding. Girl, please. Now, Katie, I gotta come back to you because, yeah, I don't think you would have called that a misunderstanding if you were still married to Bill Spencer and you saw either Brooke or Steffi on top of your ex-husband, the stallion. So let's be genuine. Let's not be disingenuous. You do realize that you would have not found that as a misunderstanding. I don't think not too many women would. Anyway, and then Steffi clapped back and said, "No, you would not." Ridge came in as Steffi told Katie the case is closed. Hope is no longer allowed in the building, and then Katie showed him the press release, and this is where we call Ridge Waffle King. So not only does he waffle between women, he waffle between decisions. So he told them, Lord, he told her, meaning Katie, we're not going to release that yet. And of course, now Steffi is pissed because she's not getting her way. She think her dad is not on her side. Yeah. And so that's how he waffled against Steffi. Now, when Steffi decided to do the silent treatment, which is a manipulative move, now he's like, oh, talk to me, look at me. And she's like, you're not on my side. And then he waffled back. Like, of course I'm on your side. What do you mean? And I'm like, dude, okay, I'm getting seasick. So which wave should we ride with you? Because we on this wave with you supporting the press release not to be released, which looks like you're worried about Brooke and Hope. And now you're back on the I support Steffi side of the world. So it's like, Ridge, which one is it? Because I'm getting loopy. Okay? Which direction we going? Exactly, Stella. I agree with that. Taylor is the only one who really has her kids back. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. Um, but this whole thing, he's worried about. He's caught in the middle because he's trying to support his daughter, but he's also in a relationship with Brooke, and of course, Hope is her daughter, and so he's worried about not getting. Let's see. He's worried about Brooke actually leaving him, and I'm thinking like, she's keeping a secret from you. Now, of course, he don't know she's keeping that secret. Clearly, not only is she keeping a secret, but her daughter that you're concerned about is about to overthrow the company with your COO, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, he was waffling back and forth with that whole situation, and so of course everybody, Brooke, Steffi is wondering like, look, what side are you on? Pick a side. Left Twix or right Twix? Pick a side. I mean, seriously. T, if Finn had a brain, he would figure out that Hope is seeing someone at Forrester after the hint Brooke dropped today about Hope moving in a different direction. But it has to make sense, though. The question should have been, okay, well, if she wasn't, well, we'll get there. Okay, we'll get there because I don't like jumping all over the place. I have to stay on task, or else I'll miss something. So you know what? Let's go over to the Cliff House. He just came in from surfing, and Brooke is like, "Oh, it look like you just came in. Why? Cause he had no shirt on. Yeah, either he came out of the shower, or he came out of the ocean. One of the two, Brooke. Anyway, Brooke was going on about the situation of just like Ridge was there trying to get him to actually confirm what he actually saw. And she's arguing that, you know, her daughter made one mistake by kissing him at that party. And Finn was like, excuse me, that was a pretty big mistake, ma'am. And my wife thinks it was a pretty big mistake too. Brooke was like, yeah, but she apologized for that. She said it wouldn't happen again. And then he was like, but it did happen again. And then she goes into this whole rant talking about she don't want you. She don't want you. She goes into this whole rant about the fact that Hope don't want him anymore and how she's going into a whole different direction. This is where Finn should have said, okay, well, if it wasn't for me, who was it for? If it wasn't for me, who was it for? And see, this is why the writer should have also brought up the fact that Hope also tried to seduce him in the studio room when she was dressed in lingerie at that time. And then, you know, obviously it's enough with what we got going on. But if Finn could have threw that in as well, even though we know and Brooke knows that it was for Carter. It could have been a situation where Finn said, "Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but your daughter tried to come on to me once before in the design room. So if it wasn't, she kissed me. She tried to come on to me in the studio. I'm sorry, downstairs. And now this, help me understand why you think that this is all a big misunderstanding. Back Brooke into a corner and see if she answered the question. If she does not answer that question, then she's continuously perpetuating a secret. Because you can't go around expecting folks to just believe you because you said so without giving some background information of why you want me to think that way. You want me to just say it wasn't me because you think so? Tell me why. And she's not doing that. Because he was like, look, Hope had me pinned to a desk. How would she expect Steffi to react? And Brooke is like, oh, you're wrong. Hope is not interested in you. And they go back and forth about it. Brooke knows what it's like to be wrongly accused. Then tell the freaking truth. If you know what it's like to be wrongly accused, then clear it up by telling the truth. None of that makes sense to me. Yeah, Tanisha, the writing is so stupid. Melissa said Brooke also said Steffi should be careful because she isn't innocent and her indiscretions could end up in the press. They have already. How many indiscretions have Steffi had? She slept with her father-in-law. The whole situation with the scandal with Hayes. I mean, it's several out there. That whole company has had its myriads of scandals. So I don't understand why Brooke is worried about scandals when the company has had many scandals over the last 38 years almost. So, I don't know why she brought that up. It is what it is. So then she decides to pull a, well, you and Hope were friends at one point. Can you go and talk to them? Just talk to her and let her know. So you want him to go and disrupt his marriage in order to what? Help Hope? So you want him to help Hope by going to tell his wife to make a business decision. We got to save the company. He don't even work there. He don't work there. He worked for the hospital. If any company he gonna save is the hospital and the patients that he see. He don't work at Forrester. What do you mean? We got to save the company. How about you save the company by telling a secret that you're sitting on? It's just dumb. All right. I feel Finn doesn't know much about his wife past. Yeah, he probably doesn't, Bree. KH said that the company weathered Brooke having a baby with her daughter's husband. It would survive Hope being fired. Well, I don't think it. Okay, so let's talk about that. So we're going to go over to the cabin in the woods where we see a conversation happening between Hope and Carter. So Carter tells Hope that he's always valued loyalty and lives by his conscience, and he's proud of that. And that's interesting because we just came off of Ian Ward saying that what did I just say? You take a risk by having a conscience. Well, Carter said he always had a conscience and he's proud of it. Hope says sometimes loyalty is misplaced. Okay, but you were the same woman who wanted a one woman man who can be loyal. So is it certain type of loyalty that you appreciate, or is it loyalty only when it comes to your romantic partners? So loyalty can be misplaced? Really? You was tired of Liam being a waffle boy, yet loyalty is, yeah, okay. Anyway, they go over talking about being overlooked, undervalued, discarded. Brooke is still working there. Katie is still working there. You are still working there. The only person that's not working there is Hope. Part of it has to do with her line is not making money. And that's why you have a business, to make money, I would think. Anyway, Hope thinks Steffi has been given too much power. Well, she is a majority shareholder alongside Eric. Both of them have 37.5% shares in the company. So I think she has power because she is a shareholder. And Jay Money asked an interesting question. He asked a question in our group chat where he said, how is it possible for him, meaning Carter, to take control of Forrester when they have shares? The only way I could see that happening if they sign over their shares. That has nothing to do with an LLC. So I don't know if this is bad writing or they just hope that people in soap world don't understand how business works. And granted, as a soap, anything goes. But it's like they're major shareholders. And as much as I watch Shark Tank, and I've been watching Shark Tank for the last, 18 years, I think it's been on. I might be over exaggerating that number. But there's a reason why there's a certain percentage given or sold. And we just went through that on The Young and the Restless with the whole situation of Audra giving majority say to Victor. And Victor ended up taking over Glissade and making Audra an employee. So do we not understand how business work? Yeah. Anyway, Carter has this idea of turning the company into an international luxury brand and claiming that she goes into this thing about, oh, they just mad because you came to this idea before they did. Eric just told you about 3 weeks ago, I do not want to go into debt over buying all this stuff, and it's a risk if your company is known for this and then you switch it over to this. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen because brands like LV and Chanel and some of them, they have everything from perfume to bags to clothes to watches to jewelry. So luxury brands do have those things, but They started out that way. Coco Chanel started out with fragrances and clothes and jewelry, and then of course we got the bags and all that stuff as it went on. You a fashion house. Now maybe you should have sprinkled in things over the years, but to say, bam, I'm giving you all this stuff, and then who's gonna pay for it? You're trying to use somebody else's money to pay for all of it or your ideas. If you don't like what's going on over at Forrester, maybe both Carter and Hope need to start their own business. Start your own business. Stop trying to take over a business and using somebody else's money to put forward your ideas. It's just dumb. Without Steffi, they wouldn't have this company. Eric lost the company once before over being stupid. Exactly. Exactly. So he decides to go ahead and push forward with the plan. And my problem with this is that this man is having second thoughts about his integrity. And she says, yeah, but. Yeah, but. This man is like, look, I've been loyal. Ridge has been my friend. I've worked for this company for a decade. I don't know if I should do this. His logic side of his brain is now talking. His logical side of the brain is now talking. And then he switches over to his emotional side of the brain when Hope says, yeah, but we're undervalued. We're overlooked. The Logans never had a chance. Brooke is on the executive team. Katie runs the PR department. She's the lead in the PR team. What are you talking about? Donna is married to the founder. I don't understand what she think that they just have nothing. This whole thing, and he's not looking at this like, hold on, Hope. We can't say that. Your mom is part of the executive team. You know, Katie runs the PR division. What do you mean? They've been overlooked. They have leadership roles in the company. But I know they're writing her in a villain era, but none of this writing makes sense. And then this man decides to go ahead and do a trial, a one last chance to put a veiled threat. He goes into that office to tell them how they'll have to agree to disagree on what happened, and that the optics of firing Hope are terrible. This is where we see Steffi question being concerned with optics when Hope came on to her husband. Carter tells her, look, be concerned about the company. He loves this place and has dedicated over a decade to it. We all have something at stake here. Not really, Carter. Because here's the thing. Just say the company needs to sell its shares. They could say, you know what, we're closing up shop. We're going to cash out. We're going to take this money and do something different. You out of a job because you're an employee. You don't have a stake in the company. Did you put time and energy? But you traded your time for a paycheck. What are you talking about? You got a stake here. A stake in what? They can fire you, my guy. Ask Audra. Ask Lily. Hope and Carter are employees. What stake? Anytime, that's the difference of being a business owner and an employee. Anytime you put your energy into something as an employee, your contract or what you sign as an offer letter, it tells you, for your energy and time, we're going to pay you this dollar amount per hour or this dollar amount per year. That's your stake, your paycheck. When you're a company owner, you have all of the responsibility and the direction to see and do and push the company where you want to go because it's yours. Whether you acquired it, like Victor acquired companies, or whether you created it yourself. Okay? So for them to go into this whole thing like they got some stake, dude, you can get fired tomorrow and you walk away with a severance package. TA said Card all of a sudden he need to save Forrester creation from the Forrester within 2 weeks. They want to do a Shark Tank move by influencing by influenced by hope with zero business sense. Exactly. Yeah, your paycheck and your benefits is what you get in return for the energy and time that you put into a company. That's why a lot of people are moving to owning businesses versus exchanging time for money. That's all you got, my guy. But he's coming in here talking about, you know, all the stakes that he have into the company, and we are, are you really going to fire Hope's Brooks' daughter? Steffi tells him he's grasping at straws. Carter complains that the Logans have been discounted and dismissed for years. Um, Again, Brooke is executive team member. Um, Katie is running the PR division. What are you talking about, Carter? And you are the COO. You're the second in command. The only person that's out of a job is Hope. What are you talking about? And again, Donna is married to the founder. This is such a leap. Anyway, that's why and then Carter explained that whole thing. That's why he thinks the firing is personal. Steffi says, you know what, darn right it's personal, but it's also business. How am I supposed to work with somebody that I can't trust? Why is this so hard to understand? Carter tells Steffi her issues with Hope is holding her back and she needs to deal with her issues. How about you deal with your issues? Right now, you're struggling in between integrity versus fraud and breach of trust. So who got issues here? Carter. He declares, and here's the veiled threat. He declares that Forrester Creations will never be the same if they don't reinstate hope and hope for the future, because you have no idea what's at stake if you don't. And they looking at him like, was that a threat? Yep. Yeah, that was a threat. That was definitely a threat. It was a veiled one because they don't know what's coming. Yep. Dude, you need to be happy that after that whole thing went down, where you were sleeping with, what's her name? Lord. Gwen. That you still have a job. You were sleeping with the founder's wife. And they forgave you. You could have been out. Was that personal? That was personal too, Carter. You made a personal decision to sleep with the founder's wife. Now, granted, it led it up to Eric ending up with Donna because of the whole thing where he couldn't get his mojo up unless Donna licked honey off his finger, which, hey, that's a sensual move. I ain't mad at her. Because, hey, why not keep it fun? But, I mean, they forgave you for that whole thing. Jenny says Carter don't have anything at stake. Yeah, the only thing you got at stake is losing your paycheck. Because that's a breach of trust. And you telling her to get rid of her personal issues, you making it personal by what you're doing by overthrowing the company. Because you can't tell the truth. You had and he even said, it's not about Hope going after your husband. Then tell the truth, Carter. We can end this right here. We can end it right here, right now, and say, hey, she wasn't coming for your husband. She was seeing me. She thought I was coming back in. Angela said, T, when he said that, did you see Ridge look at the folder in his hands? I think he gave himself away. Yeah, they need to read everything in that folder. Excuse me. They need to read everything in that folder. KH said, and if Carter takes over the company and Ridge and Eric refuse to design, what then? Exactly. I mean, they own. See, this is why I don't know if this is written properly. So by him owning the LLC, does that mean that he has access to the shares? That's the question. I'm wondering if that's the case. I don't know how they're going to write this, but this is some weird writing to me. And obviously, they're trying to get a reaction out of the fans for, sweeps. But yeah, this is all over the place. All over the place. So it's going to be interesting to see, because Brooke is also coming up this week, going to find out that they're attempting to do a hostile takeover. And is she going to keep that a secret? Or is she going to add that secret to the one that she currently have, that her daughter and Carter are seeing hope? See, here's the thing. I'm wondering. Let me think. See, I don't like the way they wrote this. You basing this off of a secret that is pretty much meaningless. This is a meaningless secret. I could see if it was something major that they're keeping, which is why they're doing the takeover. The secret is meaningless. Him and Hope dating is absolutely meaningless. It has nothing to do with anything scandalous. Screw what Steffi thinks. If she found out that the two of them are seeing each other and she don't like it, too bad, so sad. Get over it, Steph. But I think they need to just come clean about the secret. I mean, for them to think, Hope and Carter, to think that by telling Steffi and Ridge that they're seeing each other, that they're going to be upset. Yet, you're going to go through all of this to keep that secret quiet and think that they won't going to be upset? That's ridiculous. So, Bree said Carter can do what Bill did and force Eric and Ridge to design and can't use the Forrester name anywhere else. Or this is going to be ugly. KH said, and the shareholders should easily be able to challenge this dumb LLC crap. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't know how they're going to write this. Yes, it's a soap. Things can go whatever way that they want it. Jenna said, even now, if Steffi finds out the secret now, I wouldn't blame her for getting rid of Carter too. But then it would be personal. And it has nothing to do with her. So I would rather for her to find out, and then it is her fault. Because if it's not your husband and they're doing their job, but you still want to come after Hope and Carter for being in a relationship, then Steffi is in the wrong for that. But right now, the way that it's look, she's basing her opinion on what she saw, and they're not telling her the truth. And they're not telling Ridge the truth either, even though Ridge is fighting hard for Brooke and Hope. So, ooh, Lord, we're going to have a lot to talk about tomorrow. We'll see how this goes. I know Bree is probably going to have a lot to say in the midweek chat. I have a theory I'll share in the group. Okay, no problem, Bree. So let's give our grades for bold. I'm going to give it a C. I just don't like the writing. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just all over the place to me. It's messy. Huh, KH? It's messy. Steffi is going to interfere just like she did with her relationship with Liam. Well, and that would be fine, but now it makes her look like the villain, which it should. If they come clean about the relationship and Steffi goes after them, then Steffi is in the wrong for that. She's in the wrong for that because it's none of her business. It's none of her business who Carter dates. It's none of her business who Hope dates. If they want to be in a relationship, they have every right to be, and that's not Steffi's call. So then it would look bad on Steffy to be doing what she's doing. Just like it was bad for Steffy to interfere with Ivy and Liam. I agree with that. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. And we had fun today. And I wanted to mention that earlier for the last time about what we do on this channel. We enjoy seeing all of the comments, but please don't make this personal to us. We want to make this a community where we have good conversation and enjoy. And it's not a one-sided bias on either of the shows, because obviously when the gates come out, there's folks that we're going to call out over there, and there's ones that we're going to applaud, you know. So all right, you guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you're notified every time a video is posted. I'm T from Soap Corner Talk, and until the next one, and I got to go do something about my nose, we will see you all later. Bye, Soapies.